Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Sarah Horbacewicz. New at noon, cleanup efforts continue following last night's storms. We'll take a look at the damage left behind. And the overnight leak of a Supreme Court draft opinion potentially overturning Roe v. Wade, sending shockwaves throughout the country. The court's reaction just ahead. Plus, we'll take a look at a few Arkansas businesses on the rise and share who's hiring. But first, meteorologist Nathan Scott is with us after a pretty active weather night. Nathan, what do people need to know for today? We still need those umbrellas, raincoats with us?
Good afternoon, Sarah. Yeah, last night was a loud night across the region. We had a line of storms roll its way through, and some storms did pack a punch with some gusty winds, lots of thunder and lightning. Today, though, we're going to get a little bit of a breather. We're going to see a lull in the activity for the most part. Start of the day with lots of clouds, but now those clouds are starting to break up and the temperatures are warming up into the low 70s here in Little Rock, 71 in Pine Bluff. You're seeing more clouds into northwest and western parts of the state. Look at Fayetteville, they're at 51 degrees. That's because the cold front has made its way through that neck of the woods. On the radar loop, there's a few showers down into South Arkansas. Here are the storm reports. Through the overnight, they did add up, especially into parts of Pope County and areas north and west of the metro. There was a mobile home destroyed in Johnson County because a tree went through it. Let's see through time here. What can you expect through the rest of the afternoon? There's going to be a chance of some spotty showers. A lot of us will stay dry through the rest of the day, and we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds. So highs ranging from the upper 70s, low 80s in south and southeast Arkansas. Meanwhile, off to the north and northwest, more clouds and temperatures only topping out into the upper 60s. The chance of severe weather starts to go back up on Wednesday, primarily for Fort Smith and Fayetteville. But Thursday, that's when we need to stay weather aware here in Arkansas, because we're under a medium risk already of the threat of severe weather. I'll have more details on that potential coming up later.
All right, thanks, Nathan. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. Now, cleanup is underway in Conway after those storms rolled through overnight. Conway police are saying there are multiple reports of knocked down power lines and trees throughout the city. The severe weather caused over 5,000 power outages in Arkansas overnight, and that includes at least 100 in Faulkner County. So you'll want to be careful out there today, as crews are still cleaning up debris along College Avenue and the area of Museum Road and Sieben Morgan Road. And take a look at this. This video is from a line of storms that rolled through Arkansas earlier this morning. The storm system produced a tornado that's right there just across the state line in eastern Oklahoma. Luckily, no one was hurt, but there is still some damage. The tornado destroyed one home, ripping the roof there clean off. Thankfully, no one was inside at the time, but it all happened pretty fast. The family living next door actually didn't even have time to make it to their storm shelter.
It blowed out my two kitchen doors there in the back. It was just gone. I mean, you know, it was real fast moving.
Still trying to get a hold of their insurance company, but they're just thankful that everyone is okay. And breaking overnight, large crowds gathered outside the Supreme Court protesting a potential court ruling that would overturn Roe v. Wade. That's the ruling that legalized abortion nationwide. Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 Supreme Court case guaranteeing abortion rights, appears to be on the verge of being overturned. A draft opinion leaked to Politico shows the Supreme Court's conservative majority is set to change course. Now that means abortion would then be decided on a state-by-state basis. Skylar Henry has more details from the Supreme Court.
President Biden spoke out about the leaked document, showing the Supreme Court could be on the verge of overturning Roe v. Wade.
It concerns me a great deal that we're going to, after 50 years, decide a woman does not have a right to choose.
Politico published a leaked draft opinion written in response to a Mississippi law banning abortion after 15 weeks. In it, Justice Samuel Alito wrote, "Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. It's time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives."
Hands off our bodies! Hands off our bodies!
Demonstrators on both sides of the issue rushed to the court as soon as the news leaked. Overturning Roe v. Wade is likely to have a significant impact on this year's elections.
Now, women are going to go to vote in numbers we have never seen before because we've never seen such, in our lifetimes, such an overturning of major precedent as this.
It's odd that we're in this weird dialogue about the rights of individuals to be able to take the life of a child. I just don't understand that debate, quite frankly. So I'm going to continue to be able to stand for every single child, no matter what.
It's important to note that this is just a draft opinion, and justices can and have changed their minds before final decisions are reached. 4 conservative justices are siding with Alito to overturn Roe in the Mississippi case. It's unclear if Chief Justice John Roberts is siding with the conservatives or the liberals. Chief Justice Roberts has asked for an investigation into the leak.
This lawless action should be investigated and punished to the fullest extent possible.
Roberts called the leak a betrayal and says it will not undermine the integrity of the court. Skyler Henry, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
And the final opinion is expected to be issued sometime before the Supreme Court session ends in late June or early July. Now a THV11 update. After 3 years on the job, Little Rock Police Chief Keith Humphrey is retiring. In the statement, Little Rock Mayor Frank Scott Jr. said Chief Humphrey brought, quote, meaningful reform and a renewed focus on community policing. His last day will be Friday, May 20th, and Assistant Chief Crystal Young Haskins will serve in the interim. You can read the mayor's full statement right now on our website at thv-at-noon.com. Meanwhile, Little Rock police are still looking for clues in a homicide. Police say someone was killed near Baseline and Scott Hamilton Drive yesterday afternoon. So far, there's no word on any suspect, but the victim's identity is expected to be released later today. And the 19-year-old woman arrested in the kidnapping of a Hot Springs teen last month now has a new court date. De La Ferrer is to go before a judge again on July 7th. Yesterday, she pleaded not guilty to all charges filed against her. The other suspect in this case, Samuel Bowling, pleaded not guilty last week. Ferrer's attorney is fighting the charges and says the truth will come out.
Right now there's a gag order, can't get into the details or the facts or the allegations, really anything about this case, but there will come a time where we do get to have the truth come out, whether that's in this courtroom, in front of a jury, and we look forward to that day.
If convicted on the charges, the pair faces 10 years to life in prison. Now to the war in Ukraine, where the mayor of the city of Mariupol reportedly says Russian troops are interfering with new efforts to evacuate civilians. Chris Livesay has more on the desperation in the city.
People flee, but the shelling remains. And after 6 weeks of war, Tatiana no longer flinches. She's watched as some 300,000 people either escaped or died. You wake up and cry, then you cry in the evening, says Tatiana. I have nowhere else to go. This part of Mariupol is now Russian-occupied territory, and the living have become the undertakers. They pay rubles to sort through the rubble and take out the corpses, says Christina. To the north in Kharkiv, 95-year-old Yefrosinia leaves her home for what she fears could be the last time. I want this Putin to be battered, she sobs, so he feels what we're going through. In a Lviv hospital, this newly married couple is battered but not beaten. After a mine tore off her legs, they're enjoying their first dance. Outgunned and outsized, Ukraine has compensated with heart and creativity. Unafraid to blow up its own bridges, roads, anything to slow down the Russians. Just outside Kyiv, that meant breaching this dam at great civilian cost to the nearby town of Demidyev.
You can just see how the flood has destroyed this part of the village, destroyed homes, possessions, but they were happy to do it because if they didn't, the Russians were going to do it for them. And they effectively saved their town in the process.
Vladimir, a local villager, rose us through the aftermath.
So the Russian soldiers were here.
And Russian shells, Maria warns us, in her vegetable garden, invisible beneath us and the murky water. The same shelling rocked her neighbor Valentina's house, and her family of 6 hid inside the basement while it slowly filled with water. We had to climb out, she says, but at the same time, the Russians had to retreat. This water saved us.
Ukraine's ingenuity on the battlefield is paying off. The Pentagon says Russia's invasion has shown, quote, minimal progress at best, suffering from poor command and control and low morale. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Kyiv.
And the United Nations says that more than 5.5 million refugees have fled Ukraine since the start of the Russian invasion. It's already the largest mass movement of people since World War II in Europe. All right, just ahead, tweets on social media claim that Tennessee lawmakers passed a bill that requires drunk drivers to pay child support if they cause the death of a parent. But is that true? Well, our Verify team will have the answer next.
And the chance for showers and storms pretty slim out there today, but it does ramp up on Thursday. We are watching the potential medium risk of severe weather. What can we see here in central Arkansas, and when could we see it? I'll have more of those details next.